Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about the sampling and quantizations. In our previous lecture, we have seen why digital communication is important, what is the features of our digital communication, why we require digital communication system. And after then we will say about the pulse code modulation system and how you can convert your analog signal into digital signal. So in this lecture we have already discussed that what about the process or which we have for converting our analog signal into digital signals. So if we are talking about the basic process of our converting analog signal into digital signal, so there are three basic steps by using that we can convert our analog signal into digital signal. So that one is the first one is sampling, quantization, and after then encoding. So in this lecture, we will focus on the sampling. In very small, we have already discussed about the sampling. So just revising a small part of that sampling. So if we are talking about the sampling, so sampling is a basically process of measuring the instantaneous value of continuous time signal in a discrete form. Means by sampling, we can convert our continuous signals into discrete features. So sample is basically a piece of data taken from the whole data which is in continuous and represented in the time domain. So basically if you are talking about the discretization of analog signals, so that is convert our signals into discrete form, that is called as a sampling. So before starting the sampling, we have to first discuss what is the basic process. Suppose your if we are talking about the continuous signal, so that is the XT, and if you are talking about the sampled signals, okay, so that is XST. So that is basically what you have to done. If you are converting your continuous signals XT into sampled form, so first of all you multiply your continuous signals with the periodic train impulse train. So by multiplication of analog signal with any periodic impulse train, that will convert our continuous signals into the discrete format. So now this is our continuous signals, and if we are want to sample that signal, so that is the basically process by using that. If you multiply your continuous signals with a periodic train pulses, so your signals will be converted into the discrete format. Means you can take particular sample of that particular sample of that particular instant. So instead of taking the continuous signals with respect to time, you will take the discrete samples of your signals for transmitting the data. So this is the very basic task of converting our continuous signals into the sampled signals. So again we will say about the rate. Yeah. What is the basically rate? In which rate you can convert your signals into the sampling rate, discrete form. So discrete signals, the gap between the two samples. Okay. So if you are talking about the sampling rate, means number of samples per second. So that is the gap between the two samples will be the fixed, and we can measure that gap, and that gap will be called as a sampling period TS. So if you want to calculate the sampling frequency, so that is equal to 1 by Ts, or that is equal to Fs. So if you know the gap between two samples, you can easily calculate the sampling frequency Fs. So basically, we have to already seen that sampling frequency is the reciprocal of our sampling period. Now we will discuss about the analog signals to be reconstructed from the discrete form signals. So sampling rate should be high. So there is a certain conditions in which rate you have done the sampling, and at the reconstruction time you can exactly recover your message signal. So there is a certain rules, according to that we have to done the sampling. So rate was fixed. So if we there is a certain criteria. So in a minimum sampling rate, that is called as a Nyquist rate. And what about the minimum sampling rate, we have to see here. So if you are talking about the band limited signals, so what about the band limited signals with your highest frequency component of your signals will be W hertz. So if you are talking about the W, so that is the highest frequency. You can take any factor. You can also indicate it as a FM. So for that particular W highest frequency, your sampling rate Fs that should be equal to 2W. Means what about the two times of highest frequency component of your modulating signals? So what about the Nyquist rate? If you want to define your Nyquist rate, means Nyquist rate is that minimum rate of your sampling. Okay, so that is a minimum rate of your sampling at which you can done sampling. So what is the rate of that sampling? That is equal to two times of maximum frequency of our signals. So by using this rate, you can, if you sampled your continuous signals at the receiver part, you can again reconstruct your signals by using Nyquist rate. So that is basically the criteria, and that is the effective sampling rate of that part. So now we will discuss about the sampling theorem. So sampling theorem, which is also called as a Nyquist theorem, is in that particular sampling theorem, there is a statement your sampling frequency Fs either should be greater than or equal to 2 FM or 2W. So what about the FM or W? That is the highest maximum frequency of our modulating signals. So now again we will see that this one is the our band limited signals, that is the omega to minus omega. So that is the maximum highest frequency will be W. Now we will see about the type of sampling. So there are basically three types of sampling techniques. We have to see at present what about the general criteria of our sampling. Now we will define our sampling and we will discuss about the three types of sampling. So first one is called as a impulse sampling, second one is called as a natural sampling, and third one is called as a flat top sampling. So now we will discuss one by one. What about the impulse sampling? Okay, so if you are talking about the impulse sampling, so your sample will be the at particular instant. Okay, so that is ts to ts, so there is no width of that particular samples or impulse. So that is called that is also called as a instantaneous sampling, and in that particular instance you have to take the sample of your signals. So this type of sampling, so in this type of sampling your modulating signals xt would be multiplied by the impulse train. So that is the basic formula of your impulse train, summation of n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite del t minus nt. So that is the basic definition. And after multiply this impulse train with your modulating signals, you will receive your the yt. So you can see in this diagram, this is your modulating signals. And when you multiply your with a impulse train, so at present the amplitude of your impulse train will be constant. But when you multiply your modulating signals with the impulse train, so what about the impulse train at a particular time? TS, 2 TS, 3 TS, and if you are talking about the negative side, minus TS, minus 2 TS, there will be a particular impulse. Okay, so instant, a particular instant, you can take a sample of your continuous signal. So this type of sampling is called as a impulse sampling. That is a basically you can take a Fourier transform of equation on both sides, and we can find this type of equations 1 by 2 minus infinite to plus infinite x omega minus n omega. This type of sampling is also called as a ideal sampling. Now, second one is the natural sampling. So natural sampling is similar to impulse sampling, but except that pulse train is replaced by a, so what is impulse train? So there is an impulse, particular sample at a particular instant, but In natural sampling, what will happen here? Your impulse train is replaced by a pulse train, okay, of period t. So there is a certain time period, and there is a certain width of that pulse in the modulating signal xt. So this is the xt modulating signals. This is the pulse train. So xt to the pulse train. So what happens is sigma that is equal to minus infinite plus infinite p t n minus nd. So that is about the pulse train, and you can multiply the pulse train by the modulating signal xt. So you will receive the xt into sigma n is equal to minus infinite to plus infinite. So that is the basically final sampled signal. So you can see in this diagram, this is the modulating signals. This is the impulse train which you have to multiply for doing the sampling, and this is our sampled out. Now we will again see the flat top sampling. During transmission, noise is introduced. So during transmission, if noise is introduced, so generally noise is introduced at the top of the transmission pulse, which can be easily removed if pulse is in form of flat top. So there is what will happen. So top of the samples are flat. They have constant amplitude. So since top is flat, so this is called as a flat top sampling. So now what will happen this type of sampling? In this type of sampling, your pulse train will change according to the modulating signals. Okay, so now what will happen when you multiply your modulating signals xt with help of pulse train? So these pulse train, so this is the pulse train, and now what will happen here? The change in amplitude of pulse train according to the modulating signals. Okay, so here receive our sampled signal by multiply a one pulse train with the modulating signals xt. So that is the basic signals. We have done the convolution of rectangular pulse pt. So that is a convolution operation sampled adding, and after sampled it will get the y0 yd, and you have to sample it. You can receive this type of waveforms. Now we have already seen the Nyquist rate. So that is basically minimum sampling rate at which sampling is done. So why we called it as a Nyquist rate? In Nyquist rate, there is no overlapping of frequency, and information may not be lost. So when sampling rate becomes exactly equal to 2 FM or greater than the 2 FM, so that type of sampling is feasible in our communication system. What about effect of undersampling? And that is also called as a aliasing problem in our communication. So in the fact in which overlapping of frequency component take place at the frequency higher than Nyquist rate, signal loss may occur due to aliasing effect. So if there is a overlapping between spectrum, there may be loss of signals. So now what will happen? So this type of overlapping is called as a aliasing effect, and in which high frequency component in the frequency spectrum of signals. So that is basically lower frequency component. That is the what will happens if you have to select fs or sampling frequency either equal to or greater than the 2 FM. And what about the 2 FM? 2 FM is the highest frequency components. So if you are not choosing that part and you are taking the less than 2 FM, so now what will happen here? There may be overlapping due to aliasing problem, and it is not possible to overcome the sampled signal from the sampled signal. So in this particular part, what will happen? There will be it is not possible to overcome. So this type of sampling in which your sampling rate is less than or equal to 2 FM, there may be overlapping of signals, and your samples may be destroyed. So this is the reason. So what is the undersampling? When your model sampling frequency is less than fs is less than 2 fm. So that is fm is the modulating signals frequency. So now we will discuss about the sampling, and we will little bit discuss in previous lecture also. So what about the sampling? Sampling is two types. That is basically a instantaneous sampling, natural sampling, and flat top sampling. If we are talking about the flat top sampling, since noise affects into the higher part of our magnitude of our signals, so if there is any change in signal due to magnitude, we will detect it as a signal, not as a noise. So there is a problem that noise will be easily mixed in our signals, and if noise is mixed, you have to remove that noise. So for there is a certain criteria, your sampling frequency should be either equal to or greater than 2 fm. If it is less than 2 fm, there may be loss of instruction, so it is not beneficial for us. So that is the basic reason. Now what we'll discuss about the quantization. So what about the quantization? A little bit we have to also see in basic introductory part. If we are talking about the digitization of analog signals, if you want or your according to your requirement, if you have to digitize your analog signals, so round off value which are approximately equal to analog value means there is again we will see some diagrams for how we convert our sampled signal into the digital signal after using the quantization. So in quantization process, you have to make a certain levels of digital signal. So just you can see when you analog to digital converter perform this type of function to create a series of digital value. Okay, following figure represents an analog signal. So this signal to get converted into the digital. So how you can convert? Quantizing of analog signal is done by discretization of signal with a number of quantization levels. So you have a sufficient number of quantization levels, and then you will start from quantize your signals. So quantization is representing the sampled value of amplitude by a finite set of levels. So there may be a certain levels in our quantization. So we will again describe you. You can see here this is analog signals and this is the digital signal. And these signals have a uniform state. It will increases uniformly up to the highest level. Okay. So now what will happen? There is a these steps are uniform. One by one it will return back to the one step. So that is a basically conditions how you can convert your analog signal into the digital signal. So first of all there is a discrete levels, and when you have to work out on the number of bits you have to use to, so according to that you have to design our discrete levels, and by using the discrete level we can convert our analog input to the output, digital output. So now you can see here. So just see here, we have to show you what we have to tell you spacing between two adjacent representation levels. So that is a step size. So how you can define your step size? So you can see here. Uh, you can see here there are two levels, and this is the spacing between these. What about the step size? Move to upper, and after then you have to achieve maximum value, and then you have to return back. You have to achieve the lower value. Your again quantizer will work out. So you can see here, so these quantizer will follow the same path. Now you can again see what about the quantized, what about the foot set. So that is basically step size. So sampling and quantization result in loss of information. Okay. So when we have to done the sampling or we have to done the quantization, there may be some loss of information. So quality of quantization, quantizer output depends upon the number of levels. If you have increased your number of levels, your quantization noise will be decreased, and your quality of signals will be enhanced. So generally, if we have to start the quantization, first of all we have to decide the number of levels, and according to that levels we can represent our bits in that particular combination of our bits. So spacing between two adjacent representation level is called as a quantum or step size. So that is the reason. Now we will see how we can convert our signals. So this is called as staircase waveform. Means you have to increase one step further for reaching to the level. This is the basically system, staircase diagram. So we start with a sampled signal that is empty, and we want to quantize. So for quantize that particular signal empty, so suppose the maximum or minimum amplitude limits of your signals that is equal to minus MP to plus MP. So now in some cases you have to basically divide your range, whatever range minus MP to plus MP. So that range will be divided into L uniform spaced interval, and then you divide your peak to peak value by using the fixed number of quantization levels L. Then what about the number intervals? So that is about the L. And so how you can calculate? Suppose we are increasing staircase form and we are rising to high and high. So first of all you have to see what is the step size of your quantizer. So that is basically depend on the 2 MP peak to peak value of your signals, and that is divided by L. So that is you have to decide if how many number of bits you want to use for representing that particular signal. So that is where if you are increasing your signals bit n, so your what will happens if you are increasing the number of levels, your will be reduced and your step size will be reduced, your quantization noise will also be reduced. So in further like slides we will see. So that is the basically quantization. So that is equal to 2 MP by L. So now there is a maximum error, so del. So what will happens, maximum error will be half of del. Means you can only take the center value of your step size. So half of dial above and half of dial below, you cannot differentiate between the points. So suppose we were to calculate the mean square value, so that the noise power nq, that is equal to q square. So we have to calculate the mean square value, and that is equal to mp square by 3l square. So del square by 12. So what about the NQ? So we are talking about the NQ is proportional to the fluctuation of error signal. So that is basically a fluctuation that is depend on the errors. Now you have to calculate the SNR in PCM. So first of all, what about the output voltage power S0? So that is equal to m square t. And what about the Nyquist quantization noise n? That is equal to mp square by 3l square. So you can divide it and you can represent it into different form. So m square t by mp square. So that is equal to, you can also take it 1 by 2. Now we will discuss about the transmission bandwidth. So in binary PCM, we have a group of n bits. Suppose PCM is pulse code modulation, and in this type of transmission, your output, your continuous signals will be converted into discrete form, and then we take the different samples, and that samples will be represented by a number of bits. So suppose if you are taken the n bits for representation, so your L, so what is the relation between the quantization level and the number of bits? So L, that is equal to 2 raised to power n. So small n, that is equal to log 2 L. So what about the L? L is the number of quantization level, and small n, that is equal to number of bits. So if your signal is band limited beta hertz, then we have to require the 2b samples per second. So 2nb elements of information, so we must transfer 2nb bits per second. So that is the rate. So this minimum bandwidth needed to transmit the 2 NB bits per second, so that is equal to n beta. So this is a basically transmission bandwidth Bt, that is equal to n into B. So what about the B? B is the capital B is the bandwidth of our signals. So that is the same. Now we will little bit move to the encoding part. So there is a certain levels, and we have to divide our peak to peak value into a different levels, and each level is then indicated as a coding. So that is the basic part, and we will decide your sample value is lies between these two levels, and if your sample value is accurate between the center of these step size, so that is defined by particular value, and if you are nearby which type of quantization level, so you will be indicate that particular value. So here we will see that del by 2 is the minimum separation, your minimum distance in which we can receive our errors. मतलब अगर if we want to talk to you कि how our errors are introduced, so you can see here, just you can see in this diagram, there is a quantization level. So between these two levels, if you have any signals and there is a signal, so that signal will be nearby to which type of quantization level, so that particular coding will be allotted to them. So that is the basic reasons. Now we will also discuss about the quantization. So after that we will discuss about the little bit uniform quantization and non-uniform quantization. So there are basically two types of quantization: uniform quantization and non-uniform. So the type of quantization in which levels are uniformly spaced means gap between two levels is always fixed and equal. So that type of quantization is called as a uniform quantizations. And this type of quantization in which quantization levels are unequal, and mostly, so what about happens कि there is a log scales between them. So we will see in further slides कि what about the non-uniform means there may be a different scales for doing the quantization. So we will see in the with diagram, you can see here, and what type of signals we have to required for doing the non-uniform quantizations. So first of all we have to see that music, to what type of signal. So that is basically the music signal which we have to use. So there is a certain property of that particular sound signals or music signals. There sometimes their pitch may be very high, and that will be the very high amplitude at particular level. So what will generally our voice pitch is fixed, and they will not suddenly we can shout or we can raise our voice very high. So at that particular conditions there may be a high peak in a particular signals. But now what will happen here, maximum time your signals will be at the low amplitude, but at a certain instant your amplitude will be rises suddenly. So now what will happen is done, if you have to done the quantization, so you have to take the different levels. So if you have to take levels, so according to that, the number of bits for representing the particular sample value, that is equal to 4. And if you are taking the 8 levels, so you have to only require the 3-bit combinations for representing your sample. So here we can see that number of bits, that is basically non-uniform quantization. So in this part, you can this diagram non-uniform quantization. So if you are talking about non-uniform quantization, means there is a log scale, and initially the gap will be very low, and slightly it will be high. So what is the basic reason behind using the non-uniform quantization? So basically, non-uniform quantization, the noise effects is to the higher side of your frequency. So basically what will you have to design such type of quantization that effects at the higher side will be neutralized. So that for this reason, non-uniform quantization, we have to first compress the samples. So compression is done. So this is a basically block diagram. First of all, sampling, after then compressor, uniform quantization, detector, So that is the basically part which we have to interpolator, expander. So that is what is the compounding and why we are using the compounding in non-uniform. So compounding is basically expansion and compression. Okay, so at transmitter section, first of all you compress your signals and then you can transmit, and in the receiver section there is a compressor. And what type of compression is done in your signals, that type of expansion will be done in your signal. So that is a basic part in which we here discuss that what about the non-uniform quantization. So when we are seeing the uniform quantization means their gap between all these levels will be equal. And when we are talking about the non-uniform quantization, so at that particular part there may be a different steps, and at lower amplitude sides these steps may be very small, and as we move to the higher side the height or size of that steps will be increases. So that is the compounding. So if we are talking about the compounding, so compounding means compression and expansion. So that the features we called it as a compounding, and the meaning of that it does both. One means in this type of devices, first we have to done the compression, and it will based on a non-linear techniques used in PCM. So that particular part we can use our PCM for in this method of compounding. So PCM which compresses the data at the transmitter and expands the data to the receiver. So that is the basically part how you can done the compounding means there is a compression and expansion. So what type of procedure you have for now formed in our transmitter section, the reverse actions will be take place in the receiver part. So there are two types of compounding techniques. So first of all, we will call it as a law compounding, and the second one is the mu law. So if we are talking about the A law, so in this type of law, uniform quantization is achieved and at A plus 1 or A equal to 1, where the characteristic curve is linear. So here you can see that what type of compounding techniques we are using. Again there is a problem of linearity of our signals. So basically if we are talking compounding to quantization that is depend on the, so when you have to done the compounding, so at that particular part a is depend the degree of your compression. So if at a is equal to 1, when characteristic curve is linear and no compression is done. So a law has mid rise at the origin and hence it contains a non-zero values. New law compounding technique. So uniform quantization. So since basically if we are talking about the non-uniform quantization, so non-uniform quantization is basically a uniform quantization plus compression, and at the receiver section we will done the expansion. So if we are using the Mueller compounding technique, so uniform quantizer is achieved at mu is equal to 1. So when we are talking about the A law of compounding technique, at that particular area A is equal to 1, but here we are using the Mueller compounding technique. So at that particular part mu is equal to 0 and characteristic curve is linear and no compression is done. So when you are putting the value of mu is equal to 0, these are linear characteristics. So by increasing the value of mu, your compression will be increases slightly, and you can send your data by using the non-uniform quantization. So basically, if we are talking about the non-uniform quantization, so that is nothing else. It is basically a combination of non-uniform quantizations plus compounding techniques. So basically, compounding is a addition of compression plus expansion. Encoding. So what about the encoding? The third section will be encoding, and what will happens in encodings? First of all, sampling. You convert your continuous signals into discrete format, and then your discrete whatever your discrete sampled signals. So we have to done the quantization, and we can calculate in which quantization nearby that particular sampled value will exist. so in which particular value, and by using the combination of our, if you are using the 8 levels, so you will use the 3 bit combinations. If you are using the 16 levels, so you can use the 4 bit combinations, and according to that combinations you will define your separate levels by binary codes. Okay, so then when we receive that binary code, so this binary code we will call it as a encoding. And basically these are used in digital audio, computer, CD, telephony, so many areas where you done the encoding process. So you can see here, this is a different samples. This is the basically 16 levels, 0 to 15. So there is a 4 bit combinations, and each sample can be present in a 4 bit combinations. You can again see there are various diagram for this is a modulating signals. There is a quantization levels, the quantized samples, and these samples will be encoded into by different combinations of your bits. This is 0 to 15, and you can represent by 4 bit combinations, and you will decide in which nearby quantization level your signal will be existing. So that will be indicated at that particular value. So in this way, you convert your signals into the encoding. So what about the encoding? So that is basically at last, before starting our objective question, we will see something encoding. So you can see here there is also a binary number represented by. So you can see there is a representation of binary number representation of this time period, and here we have to define the amplitude level. You can see this is your analog signals. These analog signal is converted into these type of staircase signals. Okay, by using methods, and after then these levels are designing by some coding. So you can already done your coding, and according to these coding, these particular sample value can be represented in the binary form. So this is the way. What is the value? You can take this if you are taking this sample, so you have to see in which nearby quantized level it will be rise. If it is nearby 5, so you can give the coding of 5. If it's nearby to 4, you have to use the coding of 4. And we have done the coding of different levels. So there are 60 levels, and by using the, so there is again a state how we can reduce our quantization noise. So when we are increasing our step size, because our noise quantization noise will depend on the. So we will little bit see here how the quantization noise. So basically, quantization noise will depend on the S by 12. So what about the S? S is a step size. So if you are increasing your step size S, your quantization noise will be increases. So this is the way, and basically S and S is equal to step size, and that is equal to 2. What is the basically step size? So that is 2 MP upon L. So that is also depend on what you can see here. Your quantization noise, that is equal to S square by 12, and step size is also depend on the maximum peak amplitude and quantization levels. So in this way, our जो noise है, what about the quantization noise? That is also depend on the either step size or peak value of your signals and number of levels. So this is the certain conditions or criteria. According to that, we can calculate our noise in our PCM system. So basically, if we are again summarize our lecture, that what about the PCM? So PCM is nothing, pulse code modulation technique. This is basically a to D analog to digital converter. Here we are using the three main sections. First one is the sampling, second one is the quantization, and third one is the encoding. So we have seen what about the sampling, types of sampling. After then we will discuss about the quantization. So basically in quantization we will decide some uh, number number of quantization levels. So according to that levels, what will happens here? We can code our signals in which quantization nearby quantization level your sample will be existing. If step size is greater, then your quantization noise will be also greater. So as we reduce the step size, your quantization noise will also be reduces. So this is the fact in which we have to remember when we are designing our PCM system. So after then there is a encoding. So what about how which type of process we called it as a coding, and what about the quantization? So in quantization we will define certain levels and we will decide in which nearby levels that will be existing. And in encoding process these quantization levels will be marked with a binary number systems, and according to that we can find out the binary equivalent of our sampled signals. So this is the right way. By using that particular value we can convert our analog signal into the digital signals. And now here we will see that what about the noise. So how you can reduce your noise? So by reducing the step size you can reduce our noise, but as we reduce our step size we have to increase the number of levels. So this is the criteria ki how you can decide your levels. So now we will see some objective questions. You can see here. Basically, if we are opting the digital modulation techniques, so why we are opting the digital modulation techniques? What is necessary for digital communication? If we are talking about the digital communication, there is a something is very important in our digital communication. You have to know source coding, channel coding. So basically we have done the source coding because source coding is done the optimization of bits. So it is very important for transmitting our signals at a optimum bandwidth. So for achieving this target, what you have to done? You have to done the source coding. So you have to know why we are doing the source coding, what is the requirement. Now we will digital system. So what about the digital system and how we can improve our digital system? So there is a certain features. What features are attracting our digital system with respect to an analog system, or why we are moving towards the digital system? Quantization will be finer. So what about the quantizations? And that will be finer when smaller the number of. So that is the same thing ki how you can decide your multiple levels, and according to your multiple levels or multiple quantization levels, these will decide over the quantization noise. So what will happen? Transmitted pulse become distorted. So whenever our pulse will be distorted, so we have to know the condition. And different cases of sampling. So what are the different cases of sampling and which one is not the sampling one? You have to know the types of sampling. Now we will see the quantization. So why is the quantization? And when quantization will be better? So you have to know first of all but why quantization will be better when you have to reduce the quantization levels. And how you can reduce the quantization level? For reducing the quantization level our step size should be minimum, and if you want to make the step size minimum you have to increase the number of levels. So this is the things when we can work out on the quantization noise. So that is a non-uniform quantization. So in which part, but particularly non-uniform quantization existing. So basically, if you are talking about the non-uniform quantization, so that is basically a combination of uniform plus compression, compounding. So there are some examples of digital communication systems. So which one is more of the digital pattern? So this is the speed objective which we can see. So quantization is a very important part. If you are talking about the image signal, so in that image signal we have also done and because quantization is that which will convert our analog signal into digital signal. And when we are talking about the digital image processing, so that is the basically the part of digital image means your image will be moving to the digital part. So when you have to convert your image into digital part, there is again the steps which you have to follow. That will be the sampling and quantization. So sampling and quantization is very very important part. In this lecture we are working on the ordinary part of x coordinate or y coordinate. But when we are talking about the image, we have to work out on the two coordinate systems. We have two x signals and y signals, and these two signals we prepare our images, and how these images can be converted into the digital images. And when your image will converted into the digital image, so by using the, so there you have to also use the sampling and quantization. So that is the all things which will covered in our quantization part. So okay, thank you.